When you hear the word posture, what is it that you do? Do you yank up super quick? Maybe with a furtive look in your eyes or an embarrassed look on your face? Or maybe you're still hearing your mother's voice ringing in your ears. Sit up straight. Posture. Hi, it's Anne from Posturally, and today I'd like to chat about why posture even matters. What's the buzz with posture? And in doing so, I'm hoping that I can kind of jog your thinking around, do I understand this idea of posture correctly, or at least to the best of my advantage? Because perhaps there might be some aspects of posture that you missed that you could employ in helping yourself to have better posture. If you answered yes to either one of these things, you can take some comfort in the fact that you are definitely not alone. Most people have a response like this. That's because most people think about posture as sort of a thing to correct, a thing to check off their list and be done with it. What 1, 2, or 3 things, Anne, can you give me that I can get good posture? Check, check, check. And then it's done. They have good posture according to them. Time for a reality check, people. Posture is a sophisticated system that involves your brain, the movements you make, the bones, the joints, and the muscles and the soft tissues of your body. And posture, because the brain is so involved, will take information from the outside world, which we get through our 5 senses, and also take information from within the body around, well, what are your body parts doing? What joints are doing what? How tight is a muscle? How weak is a muscle? What is your position? And it takes that information in, and it processes that and many other things about you as a human being. And then it readies up one or more responses, and those responses take the form of some type of movement. Posture in that case is considered a movement, at least in my world it is. Sometimes these reflections are very noticeable, very obvious. For example, maybe you've had a project at the computer for a week, and on Friday you look up at that mirror of yours and you're like, wait a minute, I've never been a hunchback of Notre Dame before. And so you feel like it's quite obvious you're sitting at the computer and now you've got more hunchback. That's one way. Another way is because we have so many things that the brain processes and then sends out for movement responses, that there may be a very subtle response in your posture that, unless you're very attuned to these things, you're not aware of. So I like to think of posture as this living, breathing system that can change in an instant or be embedded for a lifetime. What's really going on is that posture is getting reflected at every level, whether it's very, very obvious, medium obvious, or teensy weensy and you barely notice it. This is the nature of the posture system. And the posture system works in daily life. According to an adage that runs around the industry that I'm in, and the adage is form follows function. So what you do is what you get in your posture. And think of it, if you sit at the computer 8 hours a day for 30 years, what is that doing to your posture? If you play baseball every day after work, for an hour with your kids, what's that going to do for your shoulders, for your back, for your abs? If you don't do anything, you just sit at the boob tube, what's that going to do for your posture? So we have these repeated things that, because really we're creatures of habit, we humans, we tend to do things the same way over and over again. We often take the same positions or ways of doing things. That's called a movement pattern. We take these and we do them over and over again. And this is infinitely more powerful over what your posture looks like than that one and done, yank yourself up, check it off your list. You remembered the word posture and now you stood up straight for a half second, right? And I'm exaggerating, I admit that, but I'm doing that so that you can see the polarities and try to understand in the center what it is I'm speaking of. So the nuanced posture power that you get from this system extends way past what you look like, right? So again, we repeat things over and over, and that's kind of how we become. But the way your posture becomes the habits that you're into can affect how you feel, how much energy you have, how your health status. And I want to go over just 3 main areas of that so you get a better sense of why posture matters. This is decidedly not the be all end all to all the reasons why posture matters, but it's a good start for us to look at some basic things and hopefully get motivated to try on techniques, learn more about it, and perhaps shift our attitudes so that we're not always on a checklist. Okay, I know what you're saying. That's all I got to do. That will never get you good posture. It's the experience, the embodiment, and the kind of taking it on as a lifelong hobby, if you will. I've seen people get miraculous results once they shift that attitude. The first of the 3 reasons why posture matters is chronic pain. When a body is misaligned for long periods of time, this leads to muscles that get really tight in some areas and really weak in others, and they can no longer function together like a symphony. Muscles are really designed to act in concert with one another. That is when muscles are healthy. So we can't do that anymore once something is tight and then something else is weak, and then that makes another part of the body try to help, and it gets tight and weak, and the thing goes on and on and on. People who don't understand posture and they don't understand movement, because really in my world, they're very, very, very related, often end up with chronic neck pain, chronic low back pain, chronic upper back pain, hip pain, shoulder pain, knee pain, elbow pain, you name it. And that is because they are not addressing their whole body alignment and trying to get those muscles to balance around the joints that they are assigned to and to work in symphony and harmony with one another. Now, I have worked with many, many people who have this kind of pain, and the results can be dramatic when you know which techniques to apply and why. But the sad thing is, there are millions and millions of people who live with this kind of pain. And by the way, if I haven't conveyed it already, this type of pain grows if you don't interrupt it with the right techniques, because the body just tries to keep itself propped up, and in doing so, that's very dysfunctional. So it's sort of like the dysfunction spreads. So as this dysfunction spreads, so does the chronic pain condition. And there are so many people who live with this, and they'll go to the doctor and they'll do every treatment available and nothing helps. And then they're relegated to chronic pain management for the rest of their lives. And all they really needed to do was learn about posture and alignment and movement therapy to try to get the bones back in alignment, because in turn that lets the muscles relax. And for many people, that is all they need to feel fantastic in a very quick, short amount of time. I just want to offer a little caveat, however, because some people really do need to go to see a doctor. So research has confirmed over and over again that for people with chronic neck or back pain, about 40 to 80% of those cases have this type of pain where they need to work on it themselves. Again, sometimes there are certain things that you really do need that doctor. It's just that we need to have the attitude of I'm in charge here, right? And one way to do it is to know the signs. So for example, if your pain keeps you up at night, if your pain interrupts your daily activities, if it lingers past a week, or if you get nerve symptoms, tingling, numbness, what else? Weakness, going down one arm or one leg, this is a sign you should probably see your doctor, or you should see your doctor, okay? This is a sign you should see your doctor. So let's honor that. And let's also honor the fact that there's a tremendous amount we could do to be responsible for how we feel, as long as we're in this musculoskeletal zone of how the pain got started and how the pain continues, okay? Second thing is that having chronic bad posture, chronically misaligned joints and muscles, can up the risk for either injuries or falls or both. So this is again because for people who are not elderly or have osteoporosis, this is because the muscles are imbalanced and probably the activities are not balanced towards movement. So when you do move hard, you need to warm up. You should have some type of gentle therapeutic program you do every other day or so that when you do want to work hard physically, you're not going to injure yourself. For people who are elderly, have osteoporosis or special situations, the falls are really important to think about, and because it's so much easier to get a fracture. And along with that, It's very important, not only to do bone mineral strengthening exercise and other things that you can do. Again, speak with your doctor and physical therapist on that, but you also really want to work on your balance. So working with the muscle balance is very good because it gives you a sense of, of what it's like to feel balanced. And then there are things like yoga and strength training, which is also excellent for balance. And this is an area that I know things about mainly because of my personal situation, but I definitely think you want to talk to a qualified licensed medical professional who specializes in this to get the information. But I do want to end this section with another sad fact, and that is that the World Health Organization tells us that falls are the second most common cause of unintentional injury death. So it's a problem once we break a bone, when we get older, or we have a special condition that predisposes us to osteoporosis. And thirdly, poor posture habits can limit how much air you take in and how much CO2 you exhale out. And both of these can affect your health. So if you're not getting as much air as you need, then you have less of the substrate necessary inside the body to break down food and assimilate it. And our tissues need that food because once it's digested and assimilated, it's building blocks for tissues, for muscles, bones, eyes, nose, fingernails, all that. So if you want a healthy physical body, then make sure you get all the nutrients that are in the food that you eat. That's one thing. And then on the way out with that CO2, part of that process is about getting rid of toxins that are byproducts of the processes that go on in the body. And so if you cannot get rid of them because you're not able to exhale enough, and by all this that I'm talking about now is especially related to your abdominal muscles, which help breathing, they help the exhale. But not being able to expel those toxins or all of those toxins means that the toxins are going to stay in the tissue. And if you layer one toxin over another for years and years on end, you're likely to go disease in your body or maybe come down with disease, which I don't for you, So if you're interested in learning more about what posture can do for you and what it really is and what the subtle nuances are about, please subscribe below to my channel. Thanks.